Yo, I'm trying to find the best beer money app out there. Today's app is called SurveySpin. Now, SurveySpin is actually made by the same developers who made Eureka Surveys, and it basically looks the same as Eureka Surveys and acts the same way. It's got the same UI, same earning methods, such as doing surveys, downloading, playing games, doing macro tasks, watching videos, and doing on-game app offers. Now, I'm personally a pretty big fan of an app having multiple earning methods, and I usually give a little more weight to it when it comes to beer money apps, just because it makes it a little more versatile and all that. But there's kind of one consistent problem that comes across like every earning method on this app. And you'll kind of find out why and what that problem is as we go through the app. So let's get to my full screen.
Alright, really quick before I start, if anyone's curious on what beer money apps I continue to use or cash out from, I do have a monthly earnings section on my blog where I show what I cash out from every month. I do plan to make videos on this channel just talking a little more about beer money and what I plan to do with beer money, such as trading stocks, investing, crypto, and whatever else I plan to do with beer money. But those will be linked in the description if anyone's curious. Anyways, let's get to the review. So when you first download SurveySpin, it's going to look a little different from mine. It's going to force you to do like a kind of task list thing. It's going to have like 2 surveys for you to do, and you're going to have to watch an ad and then do a check-in and some other stuff. Once you complete that, you earn like, I think $1.50 or so, and then you'll have full access to the app. So we're just going to start with the surveys. Even though SurveySpin is primarily a survey app, hence the name, I feel like it's a bit lacking when it comes to the surveys. I see maybe like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 different surveys right now, and the most that I see throughout the day is maybe like 8 to 10 max. The lowest is maybe 3. It's a pretty low amount to have on a survey app that primarily is for surveys, just because it like inherently lowers your chances of getting a good survey. Not that you don't get any good surveys on this, I just feel like it's lowering your chances. Another kind of bad thing about this is I feel like it picks kind of low quality surveys to do, meaning like you'll tend to get like really long surveys like this Lucid one for 11 minutes and it's only paying you 21 cents. You often see a lot of these kind of long, low paying surveys, which is kind of unfortunate because I do tend to get like very rarely, I do get like a survey or two that I've done on another survey app on like SurveySpin or Eureka, and on these apps it actually pays you like a couple cents more, even though it's only like a couple cents different. It's like the best way to compare whether a survey app is better than another one, because the developers ultimately get to pick how much of a cut that they take. And since I tend to get a little higher pay on certain surveys that I have done on another survey app apart from these apps, it just shows you that they're, the dev is a little more generous than other devs. But the unfortunate thing, like I said, is I feel like it just picks a lot of surveys that are just not very worth doing. Now, something I do appreciate is that it does show you the survey provider names. You can see at the very bottom where it says Qualtrics, Zappy Store, Lucid, and so on and so on. And I appreciate this a lot just because it makes me feel like they're a little more transparent. But the most important thing about this is when you're doing a lot of surveys, you tend to know certain providers, and certain providers have a lower disqualification rates. They're just more reliable or pay higher and stuff. And a lot of survey providers will usually make their surveys the same way or have like the same category. Like, a certain provider might do only serial, so you can always expect what questions will come up or how the surveys are done, and you'll ultimately just do surveys a lot quicker than you would not knowing the names. Now, I did mention earlier that SurveySpin is made by the same developer as Eureka, and the important thing about this is if you happen to have both apps downloaded, you'll often see a lot of crossover apps, and these are kind of like, you can kind of imagine them as like sister apps. And if you try to do one survey that is shared across both platforms, sometimes you have a low chance, very, very low chance, that you can actually do the survey again on the other app. And like I said, it's a very low chance, but it is possible. I've had it a couple times, but don't try to expect too much from it. Now, just as any other survey site, there are always disqualification rates, and there is a disqualification bonus of $1 to $2. It's very minimal, but like at least you get something. So right below the surveys, you have your check-ins. Now, if we tap on this, what it says is when you go to a certain place like a food store or a retail store or any other store, you'll get paid 5 cents as long as your location is on. Now, about a month ago, I feel like this kind of changed, or there's a glitch that happened, but before that month, what would happen is when you go to a certain store, it would just pay you 5 cents automatically. Now, as of recently, I don't really leave the house too much, but whenever I went to like my local Walmart for like, my weekly grocery trip, I would automatically get paid 5 cents without even having to like touch the app or open the app, which was super nice because it was just passive income at that point. But until that month, I feel like either they're trying to change the system or, they just haven't updated the text on how this works. But how it works now is you would have to check on the app every, I don't know, like couple of hours or something. Sometimes you can get this twice a day, but you would check in like a couple of hours and then it would say at the very bottom, I don't remember the text. I kind of wish I took a screenshot, but it would say like 5 cents for check-in or something, and then after a couple seconds, it would just automatically play like an ad or show an ad on your screen of your phone. And then after a couple seconds, you can just exit the app and you get paid 5 cents immediately, which is still kind of nice, but it's not as good as what it used to be. I don't know if they're changing it, like I said, but I'll update the blog page about it whenever, if they update this or whatnot. But under that, you have your video bonus, and this is pretty much what your like watching ads is, which is a super nice thing. I usually give a lot of weight to apps that have earnings from watching ads. It's just the easiest way that you can earn from like any beer money app. But the downside of it on this app is that I feel like it's just kind of non-existent. Now, this is an exact copy of Eureka. It's from the same developer, and the app is basically the same. A lot of the surveys are, crossover surveys from both apps. And the problem is, I feel like you just don't get any videos on like this app. Now on Eureka, I rarely got videos, but I got a lot more videos on there than here. Maybe I'm just super unlucky or it's just my area and I just don't get a lot of video apps or video ads here. But if you get a lot more than me, that's a great thing. Very easy way to earn from watching videos. So it's probably the easiest way next to like fully passive income. At the very bottom, you have your daily pull. Just like any other daily pull, you get paid 1 cent from it. Resets at 1200 a.m. UTC. You can just throw that into your quick Google search to convert it to your time zone. It'll also tell you like how long you have before it resets at the very bottom right. As you can see, I have 11 minutes before mine resets. Now, just kind of bouncing off of this, I do recommend if this is your first month of using this app and you really want to maximize your earnings, I recommend waiting to do the survey or this daily poll to get your kind of like daily login check mark. And you can find that at the very top left next to your trophies with the number for your streaks. And the important thing about this is that there's achievements, which we'll talk about in a second. But all you need to do is just do this for 30 days. An easy way to see if you've already gotten your check mark for the day is just going on here and then seeing if the day has the check mark, and if it doesn't, you can just do the daily poll. Just make sure it's not like barely resetted, because this resets like the day resets at midnight. So usually you want to do the daily poll before it resets at midnight and before the daily poll has reset, if that like makes sense or anything. Not the biggest deal, you're not going to get paid a lot, but next to the streaks, you have your trophy icon. You just tap on it, takes you to your achievements. Like I said, this is not a big deal. I think the total that you can earn from here is maybe like $3 to $4. It's not that much you're missing out, but you have your daily streaks of 30 days. You get paid a total of, I think, 92 cents. I don't remember what math is. Below that, you have your surveys. You complete a certain amount, you get paid a certain amount. As you can see, I haven't done a lot of surveys on this app. And then the video bonuses, as you can see as well, I've only gotten one, and that's from the guaranteed like video that you get when you sign up with this app. And then below that, you have your cash outs and then your referrals. Now, like I said, you're not really missing out on a lot here. So I wouldn't really worry about it too much on these achievements. They're not repeatable as well. So once you've completed them and you've completed them all, they're not going to like have some repeatable thing to let you earn a lot easier like you were before you completed all of them. Moving on to the offers tab, we'll start with the under 5 minutes, and these are all pretty much just micro tasks. They're pretty easy to do, really quick to do as well, and they'll usually just send you to the website and it'll have you do a certain thing. You can see what they want you to do just by tapping on any of the offers, and it'll have the instructions at the very top. Just make sure you try to follow the instructions to the best that you can. Usually the tracking is pretty quick and pretty good, and it'll pay you usually when you like finish instantly. Sometimes it might be a little delayed, but I do want to say that I feel like the pay on here is pretty good compared to like other Beer Money apps or platforms that have micro tasks. So this is a pretty nice spot to check out. These are the same micro tasks that you'll find on Eureka. I don't know if they like overlap or something, or if you do one on this app compared to Eureka or the other app that this developer has, if it will like cancel out or something. I'll have to try that out and then like update the blog page about it. But moving back, we have popular apps right below that, and these are all just basically non-gaming apps. They'll have you like sign up and download for certain apps that are like social media apps or banking apps or investing apps. And I will say I do think the pay is a little low on here, but there might be some potential here just because you might find like a certain service or a certain app that you wanted to try out that you won't find on another Beer Money app, and you might get paid a little bit for it, or it might be like a little discount because you're getting like money to try out the service or app. I think it might be worth checking out just to see if there's like a certain offer that you won't find on another Beer Money app. Moving on from there, you have the game section. I will say I'm not a big fan of the game selections on like this app. I'm gonna have to find a better name for these types of games, but I'm gonna call them low quality games for now. And I'm not to like slight the game or the developer who makes the games. I'm sure they're great games and all, but they're just not games that are really good for earning on Beer Money. And all these games are multi-level reward games, so every game will have a set of tasks, and every task will pay you a certain amount when you complete those tasks. And compared to other Beer Money apps, every task will have a certain deadline to them. As you can see with the very first task, you have to complete it within 5 minutes, and then 4 days for the next one, and then 4 days for the next one as well, and so on and so on. And if you miss that like deadline, you won't be able to redo that task even if you reach that task later before the whole offer ends. So, if you do choose to do the games, just try to complete them as fast as you can and within the time limit. But overall, I probably wouldn't really suggest doing the games on here. I just feel like a lot of the games aren't really worth doing just because they're very hard games to grind for and like get very far in the task list to get paid a lot. As opposed to doing it on another Beer Money app where you can do a game that might be a little more fair. It still might be a little grindy, but it's at least more fair in a way that you can still earn a decent amount from it rather than doing it on here. And keep in mind, you do have to be a new user to do these. So if you ever downloaded it on your phone or that device that you're doing it on, you won't be able to do it on this Beer Money app or any other Beer Money app for the same game, even if it's a different offer and it has like a different task list. Now, I do want to throw some caution out there. Whenever you check on a game, you can always see the task list, which is very appreciated because some of these apps just don't show the task list anymore. But try not to hit the start button because it'll take you to the download page for it. And even if you don't download the game, it's still going to put a cookie on you right when you hit the start button. And you do have to be a new user, like I said. And, when you have that cookie, it might like flag you as not a new user anymore. So you're not going to be able to do the app offer anymore. And this is especially annoying when you want to do an app offer like later when you have more time, but you accidentally hit the start button and you have to wait like a couple days before you're more free or have more time to do the offer. Just try to be careful. At the very bottom, you have an arcade, which is basically just playtime rewards, just hidden as arcade. I'm not a big fan of playtime rewards anymore. I'll make a page or a separate video talking about why, but I just feel like playtime rewards is just a lesser version of all these games that you can get on the popular games. And it used to be pretty good, but then they swapped it to a more active way of earning. Because like before, it used to be pretty passive. All you had to do is just download the game, leave it running. You didn't really have to play or anything. But now that it's changed, it's basically the same thing as multi-level rewards. And if we tap on the offer, you can see the task list right here. It just pays you a lot less compared to doing the same offer on the app itself. Just because, you can kind of imagine it as like a middleman fee. They just take a big cut from it. It's just better to do on the app. So I'd stay away from playtime rewards. At the very bottom, below that, you have tap offers. This is basically the same thing as the under 5 minute tasks. They're all just micro tasks. I haven't really done them before, so I'm gonna have to do this sometime and hopefully update the blog page if I'm not too lazy to like actually do this offer. But they should pretty fast and like easy to do, just like the under 5 minute things. And like I said, I'll have to try it sometime. Now moving on to the cash out options, you do have about 65 different cash out options to choose from. You have your main ones like PayPal, Visa gift card, Amazon, bank transfer, and so on. Minimum cash out should be $5. Some of them might be a little more, but I didn't check on all of them. But at least for your main ones, they should be $5. Now they are running a promotion right now where you get free money for cashing out at certain amounts. As you can see, you get $1 for the $10 one, and then $2 for the 15, and so on, and then $4 for the 25 buck one, and you get 0 for the $5 minimum one. I don't know how long this promotion goes on for, if it's like a weekly or monthly one, but for the last like 2 or 3 weeks, I've been checking on the app like literally every day just to see if like the promotion has dropped off, but it's still been going on. Now, there is verification required when you do your first cash out. It's the same verification that's required when you first sign up with the app, which is the phone number one. It's going to send you a code. You put in the code onto this app, and it should verify your account. Now, I will say there is another verification. I don't think it's required because it wasn't required for me, and this is the same case that happened on Eureka Surveys. And I will say, some users I hear were forced to do the face and ID verification. I wasn't, like I said, and when the window comes up, it just says it's recommended, so I don't think it's required. Now, here's a quick cash out that I did, or cash out screenshot that I did with this app, just to show you that it is legit and it has paid me.
Just to close the review off with some closing thoughts. Would I recommend SurveySpin? I don't know, probably not. I feel like it's a very middle of the road type of app. Even though it offers multiple ways of earning, and I do tend to give these apps that have multiple ways of earning a little more weight. I just feel like the glaring problem or consistent problem it has across most of its earning offers is the low quality or choice of offers. I don't know what you want to call it, but like the surveys you might get like up to 8 to 10 at max to choose from, and sometimes you get as low as 3 to choose from, which is pretty low for a survey app. And a lot of the surveys, most of the time, I feel like are just not worth doing. They're just really long or just pay you like a low amount. And you do get the occasional like decent survey or decent handful of surveys that are worth doing or really quick to do. And then when it comes to the games, like the games are pretty decent paying. I just feel like based off the trend of the games that it gives you, it's going to give you a lot of like really low quality offers. And what I mean by that is just games that are really hard to progress in are very slow to progress in. And since all these offers are task-based, you're not going to get very far in the task list before the offer expires, so you're ultimately not going to earn a lot from these compared to doing it on another beer money app that might like offer you like more decent games on the occasion. And then the videos, definitely my favorite way to earn on any beer money app, just because it's a very low effort way of earning on any beer money app, just because you can do this while you're doing anything throughout the day, or nearly anything throughout the day. It's very low effort, you can stack on top of things, not gonna earn you a lot, but the closest thing you can really get to passive income in beer money. Now, the app is not all bad. There is the daily check-in and the daily pull, which guarantees you like 6 cents a day. And like I said earlier, the daily check-in or the check-in or whatever it's called is a bit finicky right now. You might have to check on the app like every couple of hours just to hope that you get the check-in. And then I know I didn't really praise the surveys that much. You do get the occasional decent survey, and if you don't mind doing surveys, it's generally a good rule of thumb to have as many survey apps as you can in your like pool or routine, just because it like ultimately increases your chance of getting a good survey. And I think the app is a decent enough app to have in that pool. It's definitely not going to be a primary survey app for you, but it's definitely going to be a decent app that you can have on the occasion that you check in like maybe once a day or on an occasion just to see if you get like a small handful of the quick surveys that you can do. And like I mentioned before, I do get the occasional survey that I've done on another survey app on this app, and I do get like a couple more cents compared to what I got on the other survey app. And this is a good tell of seeing how much of a cut that the developer takes from the surveys, and you do get a little more than other like survey apps or other beer money apps that offer surveys. Like I said, it's not a big like difference, but it's a good sign for comparing like survey apps. But above all, I think the app it's hard for me to recommend. It's definitely not on top of my list of recommendations. But anyways, if you want to try the app for yourself, I'll have the referral link in the pinned comment below. If you're looking for any other beer money apps to try out, feel free to check out the rest of my reviews on this channel or on the blog. Feel free to check out the monthly reviews or the monthly earning pages to see what I use on the month-to-month basis with beer money apps or cash out from. I'm gonna get back to playing the original Final Fantasy VII. Take care.